In today's video, I'm going to talk about the reasons why I started Slimming World and then quit. Hey folks, it's Finn. Lovely to see you, and if you are new around here, a very, very big welcome. If you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe. It really supports my content when you do so, and then I can also let you know whenever I upload anything new. So, why did I quit Slimming World? Because I kept putting on weight. Yes, I was attending groups every week and paying £5 membership to be told I was fatter. And that is not good for one's self-esteem. Now, I just need to highlight that I'm coming at this topic from the perspective of somebody who has an eating disordered past. So I have to be very, very careful around dieting, diet groups and so on. I've been in recovery from my disordered eating for around 10 years. I used to undereat and binge and purge. I've done this since I was 11. When I entered recovery from drugs and alcohol in 2010, at the same time as I got clean and sober, I also stopped self-harming and I stopped undereating. Part of that recovery happened because I also discovered that I was transgender. And in realising that the reason I used to starve myself was to try and keep a male looking figure. I wanted to be straight up and down, I didn't want all of the curves to develop. And when I realised I was transgender, and that all made sense, that really then helped me to recover from that part of my eating issues. However, what has remained is my poor relationship with food. I still comfort eat, I still use food in that way, and I have done for the last 10 years. It is something I keep trying to address and never quite getting a handle on. Now, one of the most loveliest things about going through transition is becoming more comfortable in yourself. It was really wonderful to understand why I used to starve myself and be able to let go of that. And it was also really wonderful to love this body no matter what size it is, because whether it's skinny or whether it's fat, whether I've got a belly or whether that belly's flat, I'm male. And it's so wonderful to be comfortable like that. And the comfortability took away any desire to diet, right? Which is great. But with that remained this frustration that I just keep putting on weight. Now, it's not so much the weight that's the issue though. Yes, obviously, we need to look after ourselves and make sure we're fit and healthy. But mine was more of a frustration that I've got a handle on everything else, on the drinking, the drugging, the self-harming. Why can I not get a handle on my comfort eating? Why is it constantly an issue? It's just frustrating. I don't want to have something in my life that I'm still turning to in this way. So in March this year, I decided that I would again try to deal with this comfort eating once and for all. Now, I read about Slimming World, and bearing in mind my eating disorder past, I knew I had to be very careful with how I went ahead with this. No calorie counting. Calorie counting is not good for me. Slimming World looked great. No calorie counting. It was all about learning about portion control, about new recipes, and that sounded just what I needed. Needed to learn about food in a new way, and I thought going to a group I'd get support around that, learn new recipes, make new friends and all that kind of thing. And the first couple of groups were quite good. I wasn't too concerned in the beginning that I wasn't losing weight. I thought, just let myself settle into it. But then a few things started to happen which didn't feel right to me. In Slimming World they have little bars you can eat and things like that, and little tips for like food on the go, like Baby Bells and crackers and stuff like that. Anyway, people were going around the group and talking about their daily food, and some of them were saying, well, I'm only having a go-ahead bar in the morning and then a Baby Bell in lunch, and then I'll have like a big dinner in the evening. And I'm like, that is not healthy, this is not good. And these people are losing weight and they're getting clapped for it. And to me, that was starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable and just not right. I kept going, but then every time I'd go, I'd put on weight. And that was because even though I was learning these new recipes and doing them at home, I was still comfort eating. That Ben & Jerry's again. And then about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, I went, do you know what? this is just not good for me. I'm going every week. I'm not losing weight because I can't get hold of my comfort eating issues. I'm watching everybody around me getting congratulated. I'm feeling awful. This is not sitting right with me. It was also at a really stupid time for me to be going, really, because Mum passed away in the February and I joined Slimming World in the March. Now, at the time, I thought it would give me some focus. It would help me. The fact that both my mum and my dad died with heart-related illnesses, I thought, it will give me some oomph now to really stop this comfort eating and look after my health. Doesn't matter about the size of my body. I love my body no matter what. But what matters is, are the arteries okay? Is my heart okay? All of that sort of stuff. But now, in retrospect, I can see that it was the most stupid time to try this ever. So, I'm not saying that Slimming World is in itself a bad thing. I'm not. I'm sure for lots of people it really helps. But for me, eating disorder past didn't help. Delicate time in my life also didn't help. Now, if I'd have done it at a different time in my life, perhaps it would have helped. I don't know. But I just realised that, it's about picking your battles. I am in recovery. I'm 9 years clean and sober. This year, since Mum died, I've really wanted a drink. That head holiday with just blocking everything out would be amazing. There have been days where I felt like I was drowning and I just thought, I just need the pain to stop. Somehow, I've maintained my recovery and I've not drank. If I've had a tub of Ben & Jerry's a night, isn't that better than a bottle of whiskey a night, a bottle of wine, whatever? Picking your battles is so important, and I say this all the time, but I can be my own worst enemy when it comes to giving myself advice. So it's for those two reasons that I quit Slimming World. As an eating disordered past person, it was triggering some dangerous thoughts. And as a person that was in a very vulnerable place in my life, it was then making those things more dangerous. That's why I quit. Will I go back at some point? I don't know. I think any group that claps people for just eating Baby Bells is never going to be good for somebody that has an issue of restricting their food in the past. I think you've got to be really further on in recovery and really strong in yourself. I need some way of dealing with this comfort eating. I do. I absolutely do. It's my one remaining addiction that I can't seem to get a handle on at all. But right now, over the last, whatever it is since I quit Slimming World, the last 5 or 6 weeks, I feel so much better in myself for not putting all that stress on myself. I've reached a point now where the grief doesn't feel quite as overwhelming as it did. I get moments where I get like a sudden wave of grief and I remember Mum's gone, and then it's like the tide ebbs away. So it's not a constant drowning in the sea of grief as it was. It feels more manageable. And actually what's happened since that's felt more manageable is I've got back to the gym. I'm not making any grand statements. I'm not saying I'm going to be losing weight. But what I've started to do is really enjoy the gym. And then when I've come home in the evening, because I feel so good from the gym, I'm actually going, do you know what? This salad really tastes nice. And it's not that it tastes nice. It feels nice. I'm giving my body this nice nourishment. And I'm not having Ben & Jerry's. So for the last kind of week, 2 weeks, I've had much less Ben & Jerry's from not really trying. I've just allowed myself to just be, however, And I think this is what's so important, when you are somebody that has mental health challenges, history or ongoing, we have to pick our battles and choose what we're going to do, because we can't do everything, right? My mission, my battle right now is to survive this grief, to survive it without resorting to a relapse in drugs and alcohol, because if that happens, everything's going to go to hell in a handcart. It really is. That's my battle right now. That's where it needs to be at. If, whilst staying clean and sober, I'm having a tub of Ben & Jerry's a night and I'm laying on the sofa and I'm gaining 100 kilos, it's still better long term than my drinking. Giving myself the space to go through the grief and then tackling the other stuff is the way forward. So that in a nutshell is why I quit Slimming World. Not that there's anything wrong with Slimming World in itself, but it's all about choosing what's right for you. Not only what's right for you, but when it's right for you. And it wasn't right for me, and neither was the time. It's not just about picking your battles, it's also about realistic expectations of yourself as well, isn't it? And I talk about this so much in gender transition, and it applies in everything as well. I mean, for example, I'm 5'4", I'm quite stocky. I'm of that body type where I'm always likely going to be built more for comfort than for speed. That is how it is. I'm also on medications that make me retain and put on weight. My antidepressant, that makes me put on weight. I've got hypothyroidism, which means I have an underactive thyroid, which means I have more of a tendency to put on weight. These things then in turn make it harder for me to lose weight. So for me, with all of these things that are against me, going to a group each week where I'm constantly trying to lose weight with all of these issues and the eating disorder past is never really going to be good for me, is it? I'm realising that now. So rather than that, I just want to focus on just doing the best I can. If I can shed a little bit of this, it would be great. But more than anything, it's about nurturing this healthy relationship with food. I do still need to focus on that because that's the important thing. Eating for enjoyment and pleasure is one thing, but eating to maintain, manage emotions is quite another, and I want to be healthy in the way I do that. So yes, that is my reason why I quit Slimming World and why it probably is likely never going to be good for me to do. I hope that made sense and I hope it's helpful to someone. If you have any thoughts on this topic, I'd love it if you could leave a message in the comment section below. Remember folks, in this journey of life, it is progress, not perfection, that matters. Take care of yourselves. See you again soon.